We're back for episode 218 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. It's a very interesting week here at Kirby on Sports, as two of our teams are on bye weeks. Only one game we will talk about, the Chiefs win over the Chargers, and we will do a funny little bit, the NFL Playoff Selection Committee, plus wrapping things up with the Kirby on Sports PickEm. But I got to tell you, I can't wait to talk about a doink for the division. We're back, episode 218. I'm your gracious host, Josh Kirby. Huge thanks to all of our sponsors for making the Kirby on Sports podcast where it is today. PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Shenandoah Music, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, the brand new Cider House on East Piccadilly Street in Winchester, Virginia, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. Now, welcoming one member of the Kirby on Sports podcast team, the Weapon, Dan Dembski. What is going on, sir?
What's going on, man? How we doing?
Doing well. Happy Tuesday. It is a great day to record. A lot of stress-free football, I would imagine, as well for you.
An enjoyable weekend, just sitting back, not have to worry about Virginia Tech or the Ravens or anything. It's just nice to just sit back and enjoy all the football.
The transfer portal. My guy Kelly Lawson hit the transfer portal.
It's life now, man. It's just how it goes in college football. It's just
going to be
just a new reality you have to deal with. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Kelly. He had a great season.
Yeah, he did.
With him, Jabril and Keith entering their names into the transfer portal as well. Going to be very interesting to see as some local talent is trying to. Yeah, I'm not gonna just speculate on their situation, but
just see where they end up. Yep.
See where they end up, and
it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a man that does not need any introduction, but he's ready to talk about.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
What's going on, boys?
Never disappoints.
Never disappoints. Carlos Martinez, we're trying to.
There we go.
Whoa. What was that botchery of my name?
Carlos Martinez.
What did he call you? I was
Martinez, something like that. He was like in the middle. His brain malfunctioned right there. I've never seen it.
Yeah, my fault there. But hey, Carlos, I just got to ask you a doink for the division. Did you like that?
I don't know, Dan. Did you?
Expected it. I mean,
it's not a double doink. It was a doink for the division.
Okay.
They gave Mahomes too much time. I mean, I knew it the second they got the ball back. I said, you all had plenty of time. I'm surprised they didn't go for the touchdown, to be honest. But yeah, the way the kick was bending, I'm like, there's no way he's gonna miss this. And sure enough, he did not.
It's just funny. It was an NBC broadcast, and yet again they
that's a little irrelevant.
I don't see why that. I don't know why that was relevant.
Because that playoff game, the Eagles and Bears, the
All right,
double play,
that's enough out of you. That's enough out of you. Dan, there was something you said in our group message. What was it that you said about the Chiefs?
Did I hate the Chiefs? I think something like that.
No. You haven't said that explicitly yet. I know you hate the Chiefs because, you know.
Oh,
Chiefs.
luckiest team in NFL history.
You know what? I'm glad you said that.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it! And right off the upright and in for the division! It's the dike for the division for the Chiefs!
So, the opener looks like it'll go to the Chiefs, because this will be game over.
To win it. Oh! Blocked! The Chiefs have won! The Chiefs have won!
All right.
they
You got me.
can't get away with it. But ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present to you, they can, because they've been doing it all year. Some may call it luck. Some may call it the reps are on their side. But you know what I call it? Just win, baby. That's all it is. Let's go. We got the division. The checklist is coming. It's coming to pass to get the three-peat, baby. Made the playoffs. Won the division. Now we got a 2-game lead to host the Arrowhead Invitational. Life is good, baby. Look, I understand the Chiefs are just winning close game after close game after close game. Yes, does it give me a heart attack every freaking week? Of course. But at the end of the day, with 4 minutes left in the game, I was like, they're going to run out the clock. They're going to run out the clock. This is a mistake. Yeah. Not to mention the fact that the Chargers kicker didn't even kick it towards the landing zone. So he got Patrick Mahomes to his 40-yard line to start that fight.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
It was absolutely it was like it was just a vintage Mahomes in the clutch situation. But you know, there's obviously still concerns. The offense just doesn't look great during the sorry, my microphone is having some issues here. The offense was having a hard time throughout the game. The only times they really looked good were like in that end game situation right there, and the 2-minute drive that they had at the end of the first half, where they went into the hurry up and just went straight tempo. And you know, the defense is suffering more injuries on, you know, the secondary side. You know, Joshua, Williams went out again.
Yeah.
And
it's a big loss.
And luckily, they didn't target Nazi this time, because I guess they weren't prepared for Nazi to come in.
Well, it's funny because Collinsworth said immediately, as soon as Nazi comes into the game, that's who you want to target. You want to go after 13, and they never did. So
yeah. Well, again, it's because I don't think that the Chargers really prepared for that situation, because as far as they were concerned,
Sure.
Nazi wasn't going to be a factor in this game.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, defensively, they bent, but they didn't break. Except coming out of halftime. I mean, the Chargers just moved that ball, scored those 2 touchdowns, took the lead. Yeah, I mean, look, we all know, we've seen the story already. Last season, the Chiefs looked horrible during the regular season. This year, they don't look the best, but they still won 12 games, and they've beaten up. They're 5-1 on current playoff teams. The only team they've lost to is Buffalo, obviously. And then Atlanta was a playoff team. Right now, they're not. But of course, we've also beaten Tampa Bay, so we still get that win. So they're 5-1. They've won more games against the current playoff teams than any other team. They played one of the hardest schedules. We had an early bye week. This team is hurting right now, so it is imperative that they get that. They get that 1 seed and get that bye week. But all in all, the Chiefs are going to chief, man. They're going to find a way to win. And hopefully, we what's his name? DJ Humphries is going to be okay. hopefully it doesn't. It seems like he's feeling better. And the injury might not be as severe, and that's going to keep him out a couple weeks or anything like that. Because I will say he started the game out rough there at left tackle, as Kirby left the stream. But yeah, he started a little rough at left tackle, but I mean, this is a guy who hasn't played, since last season, so. It's his first action back, but you saw as the game went on, he started getting better and better and better. And then, he was starting to actually hold his own there a little better by the end of the game. And then unfortunately he got hurt and we had to go back to Wanye, and Wanye didn't do terrible, but we still don't trust him. He's let a lot of pressures go and get to Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes got hit a lot in this game. It's not it's not a good thing. It's a little concerning. You can tell that he's definitely he's got happy feet back there. He's not used. He's very uncomfortable. Even when he had kind of a clean pocket, you saw he kind of panicked and still tried to get out of the pocket, and sometimes ran right into defender's arm.
Yeah.
There was a big issue with him on third down that I noticed in this game where he was holding the ball way too long. And granted, it could, the TV, copy, angles don't necessarily show the best down the field. So like you can never really tell whether it's because everybody's covered and nobody's open, or if it's just Mahomes just isn't seeing it and he's just holding the ball.
Right.
But, when it matters the most, Mahomes is going to make the plays, and he made the plays. I mean, to make that guy, on that last play to kind of ice the game.
Yeah.
Makes the defender miss, and then finds, good old reliable Travis Kelce, right down the middle, and he's just right in the spot where he needs to be so Mahomes can just easily throw for the first down. Those are plays that, will win, that are going to be the difference in tight games like this. And Mahomes is going to make those. He's not going to be afraid of the moment. So, yeah, I mean, it was a rough game. Division games are always rough. And do I think it would have been different had certain players been healthy for the Chargers? Yes. But
you could argue the same thing for the Chiefs. Yeah, you could argue the same thing.
True. I mean, imagine what this offense would look like if we still had Rashid Rice and we had Hollywood Brown healthy.
Right.
And, if we just had those guys, if we had, what's his name? Justin Watson, healthy also.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to, keep McDuffie out wide, and we could use him in the slot more, and we could blitz him more and do things that he's, that made him an all-pro last year, not just exclusively have to keep him on the outside covering the team's number one, which, by the way, McDuffie played absolutely fantastic.
He's been solid all season. He's been
absolutely
solid.
He had a rough couple weeks there. I won't lie to you guys. He had a rough couple weeks, but man, on Sunday night,
when he needs to lock down, he does.
Yeah. It's still incredible to me. He has no interceptions. Like the day he gets an interception, I'm gonna just throw a party. Like I'm gonna throw a banger of all bangers, the McDuffie interception party. Because it's incredible he doesn't have one, but he's so good that they just don't really throw his way. And when they do throw his way, he's good enough to kind of smother the guy so that he can't make that the guy can't really make a play. The Chargers had their opportunities, man. I mean, they had
plenty of
passes that if Herbert would have hit, those were automatic touchdowns, and he overthrew on both of them. And they decided to kick the field goal. Right? They kicked the field goal, correct? If memory serves me right. Yeah,
correct.
Kick the field goal
late in the game. Yeah,
late in the game with 4 minutes left, because they probably thought that they were going to get the ball back, and then of course the Chiefs just know how to meticulously drain that clock at that point.
They can do both. They can score in 20 seconds, or they can run the clock for 6 minutes. That's just what they do.
I don't know if they can score in 20 seconds anymore, but they can definitely.
Yeah, maybe not now.
Down the field quickly.
They've done it. They've done it before. Is my point. Yeah.
Yeah, when we had Tyreek, back during the golden days of the offense. But Look, am I concerned by some things that I saw? Of course I'm concerned. This team does look tired. You can kind of tell with the pass rush. The pass rush isn't as effective as it used to be. You can tell them big boys are tired up front. You can tell that the secondary there's a lot of holes. I mean, Cook, number 6 Cook, he just got cooked sometimes. He got absolutely just just not great. Chamari Connor's still a problem.
Yeah.
And am I concerned by those things? Yes. It seems like they brought in Steven Nelson yesterday or today. I can't remember which day it was going to be, but they brought him in. He's used to be a corner for Kansas City. Then he went off and did a couple, started for a couple other teams, and it's been a free agent since. So they're looking to probably bring him in. I still say they need to bring another guy in also. And depending on how bad the injury is to DJ Humphries, they might want to consider bringing in another left tackle. But do I still believe that during the playoffs, when it matters most, the Chiefs are going to just kick it into high gear like they always do? Yes, I do, because we saw them do it last year, and last year was even more difficult because we had to go through, we had to play Miami, although we played Miami in negative, sub-zero temperatures. Then we had to go to Buffalo and beat Buffalo in Buffalo when Buffalo was red hot. We had to go to Baltimore and beat you guys when you guys were red hot. And then obviously play the Super Bowl against a red hot 49ers team. And we didn't have nearly the amount of talent on offense that we do right now. So I do believe they just need a game where they figure it out offensively. And
we keep waiting for that. We keep waiting, but we know it's there because we know that if they can just click, because it's just little things, right? It's just they're off by a yard. Timing,
it's
most of the
dumb
time.
mistake, right? Like in the red zone, it's a penalty. It's our right guard, headbutting a Chargers player, getting a personal foul and pushing us 15 yards back.
Very dumb.
It's self-inflicted mistakes. It's DeAndre Hopkins dropping a wide open pass.
True.
You see, it's just little things that if they can correct, it changes the trajectory of every game that they've played. So if they can just correct those things and get it clicking the way that we know the Chiefs can get going and that they will get going by the playoffs, then the three-peat is on. But if those things don't happen, which is very possible that it doesn't happen, it's not as if it's a guarantee that it will. I'm just believing in this, that Andy and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and all those guys are going to figure it out.
They've done it.
Because, we did it with far less talented players last season and won the championship.
Yeah.
But, that's all it's going to take is just doing that. And we'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I want to say that, I know you shame me here at the top of this segment, and rightfully so. But I will say I just repeated what you said in the group chat previously. Just want to put that out there. So,
look, you need a little luck to win a championship.
That's true. It's true. But I shouldn't be the only one called out. Just saying. But no, I don't have anything to add. I think
called you out specifically for this week, just this week specifically.
True. Someone's got to take the fire away from Kirby for once, so I guess I'll do that since I'm the other member of this show. I don't have anything to add. I think you nailed it, Carlos, and I think too. Look, they're 12-1. Like, they're the number one seed right now. Let's not. And I know they're tied for the number one seed technically right now, so we'll see what happens down the stretch. But this is the part of the season where
we're not tied. I mean, we are the number one, at least on the AFC side. I mean,
you're right. That's my bad.
There is no number one overall.
True.
Number one seed, because either way, the NFC team is going to be the quote unquote home team for the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, that's
there is no 1, 2. We are the number one on the AFC side. Detroit's still number one on the NFC side,
and up by 2 games over Buffalo. So it's.
And Buffalo's got a trip to Detroit, so they've got it tough.
They've got it tough.
And the
So,
Rams kind of
things-
looking red hot. I'm not saying anything there, but they looked like a pretty good football team against Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. I won't
The Rams are always that way. The Rams are always a scrappy team, regardless of what their record states they are. But no, this is right where the Chiefs want to be. They want to have a chance to really put the pressure back on the Bills and the teams below them to lock up the number 1 seed, and I think they do it here in short order. To be honest with you,
I agree.
Just because they're in perfect position right now, and this is where Andy Reid really starts to get it figured out and get stuff sorted out, and when they start to look like a playoff team. And I think you're right, Carlos. I think that game is coming where the offense finally clicks.
It might be this week against Cleveland.
It might be. We haven't seen it, so we need to see that, I think, before the postseason, because otherwise I do have some concerns for this offense going into the playoffs.
I mean, we didn't necessarily see it last year.
We didn't see it last year. Fair enough.
Until they played the Dolphins. And then, but last year we always knew we had our defense to rely on, whereas this year defense, while it has held, it's shaky, and
a lot of injuries though.
A lot of injuries.
Has been affected extremely, especially in the secondary, like we talked about at the top.
Yeah, and to go back to your point on them putting the pressure back onto Buffalo, it's true. Like, it puts the pressure back on them because now we're in a situation where where the pressure was on the Chiefs. The Chiefs needed to keep winning because we had only a 1-game advantage over Buffalo, and if we tie with Buffalo on record, they take it because they beat us. They beat us straight up.
They got the head-to-head.
So. And Detroit, obviously, dropping that game to LA is huge because while it is an NFC team, it still drops them a game back. Yep. And now they got to go into the Lions den, and they got to face a potential Super Bowl matchup between the Bills and the Lions. We could. This game is gonna tell a lot about Buffalo, and it's gonna tell a lot about Detroit, because I feel like Detroit, while they've played great teams because they have the teams, they have Green Bay and Minnesota in their division. It'll be interesting to see how they play against a team that they're not familiar with in Buffalo.
Yeah. Vice versa,
and vice versa as well.
Said that for Buffalo as well. Yep.
But it being in Detroit, and also just what we saw from this Bills defense against the Rams.
Yeah, they struggled.
It's going to be tough for Buffalo. They could very well. And then, then you look at Kansas City's schedule. We got Cleveland. We do have a tough game against Pittsburgh. Who else do we have? We have Cleveland, Pittsburgh. I know we have Denver to end the season, but there's another game in there that I'm forgetting here. Houston,
Texans.
That's right, Houston.
Yep.
Yeah, we play Houston. So it's not, Kansas City still has a couple tough games as well. Pittsburgh being one of them, because that's in Pittsburgh. It's also on Christmas. It's also on a weird day. It's on a Wednesday. We're going from Saturday to Wednesday. Houston isn't the juggernaut that everybody was trying to make them out to be, but they're still scrappy. And when you play the Chiefs, they always give you their best shot. So with all that being said, I'm happy with the win. I'm happy that we got the division. Again, as Kirby so meticulously said, the doink for the division.
Well, he stole that line, so he stole
he did. I mean, we heard it. We heard it on the compilation there that I so graciously made for you two. And I knew Kirby was going to lose it when I put the Isaiah Likely play on there.
Not necessary. It
was necessary because it needed to show. It needed to show how lucky the Chiefs have been.
For all you audio listeners, you missed out.
Oh yeah, definitely tune into YouTube. And,
no, you don't have.
No, you do. And
you really,
it's all good.
You really do.
It's all good.
You got to see that beautiful masterpiece, and then you'll understand the baby crying at the end. It was a newspaper clipping saying they can't keep getting away with this, and I made it specifically for you guys. Dan, be happy.
Your comments, Dan.
I have no comments. I said that. A billion other people think what I think, so it's fine.
Well, you guys would all be wrong, but it's okay.
I mean, they keep winning. It's not like we can't deny it.
Hey, so
Can't deny the inevitable.
Listen, so I'll go on this. Since we're starting to wrap this up, but for the Chargers, it looked like Herbert took a beating out there, went out for a little bit, but came back in.
That looked like it was just a Charlie horse, in my opinion. It didn't look like anything serious. Like he was just being over dramatic about it. I'm not gonna lie, Charlie horse.
Quarterbacks, yeah.
Well, still,
he was being super dramatic about it.
Still, whatever the case may be, that's something to look out for if Herbert can stay healthy the rest of the way, as the Chargers currently hold the 6th seed in the AFC if the playoffs were to end today. So,
but they don't. So,
no, I'm just saying.
I know. I'm
something to look out for, and I was sort of worried for the Chiefs if the legend of Taylor Heineke came in, but
here we go again. Taylor Heineke.
He only had.
Does nobody care about Taylor Heineke anymore? I didn't even know where he went. I didn't even know he was on there.
Yeah, he had one long run for about 10, 15 yards, and then Herbert came back in. So, that's
they just announced the
breaking news.
Netflix's Christmas Day talent lineup.
RG3's on that list.
I saw that. Mina Kimes.
Yeah.
Adams, Nate Burleson, Drew Brees.
Okay, Adams. Nice.
Ian Eagle.
Oh, okay.
Noah Eagle, Ian Eagle.
The McCourtney brothers, Greg Olson, Ian Rappaport.
Damn. All-star
They
lineup.
got everybody out for
Scott
Christmas.
Hansen's going to be part of this.
I don't take a bathroom break. Scott Hansen.
Laura
It's my Scott Hansen
Rutledge,
impression. Needs some work.
Gene Sterator, Manti Te'o.
Manti
There's
Te'o.
a joke there. There's a joke there. There's a joke there. JJ
I don't see his
Watt.
girlfriend on the list.
Hey, if you watch that Netflix stuff,
Yeah, why is Bert Kreischer going to be on there? What?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're overkilling it for Christmas. We just want to watch.
That's a lot. That's a lot of
Well,
people.
think about it. They have how many games are they doing? Two. It's just Steelers, Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so they got to have enough talent for all that.
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't really know exactly what they're doing talent-wise. Like, are they going to have two separate, like, I mean, they have Ian Eagle and Noah Eagle. So, obviously, those are the play-by-play guys.
Yeah.
Greg Olson's part of this, so where's Greg Olson going?
Oh, Greg Olson's going to do great wherever he goes. We know that. So,
G-Reg. My boy.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a crazy lineup. It should be interesting.
They should call the 3-man booth out there.
Bert Kreischer is an interesting choice. I guess is he going to be required to have a shirt on? Is the question, I guess.
No, he's definitely going to have his shirt off at some point. He's probably
that guy.
He's going to definitely be on the like pregame, postgame show type thing.
Yeah,
and he's definitely going to be. I guarantee you, he'll probably be in Pittsburgh. My guess.
Yep.
It just makes sense that he'd be in Pittsburgh in the cold, and at some point he's going to have his shirt off, freezing his nips off.
Yeah.
We are so off topic right now. This is supposed to be about the Chiefs. Now we're talking about Christmas. My bad.
Well, the Chiefs do play on Christmas, so
we do, but that's not our next game. Our next game is Cleveland, the armpit of America.
Are the Chargers like allergic to winning big games? Have they ever won a big game ever?
Dan.
Hold on.
No. Hold on. Dan, they're coached by a Harbaugh.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
let's be honest here.
Okay, before he was even there.
The last Harbaugh who came to Arrowhead before Jim Harbaugh.
No. Dan is correct. The Chargers love to charger. But the thing is, the Chargers haven't really chargered this season.
That's true.
As much.
They just been in close games, it feels like.
They've been in close games, and they've actually made the plays to win. They chargered in this game. How do you not
it was a throwback charger.
Landing zone
and
give Patrick Mahomes at the 40. Like, that was stupid to me.
Brutal.
But they're coached by a Harbaugh, man. It's what happens.
Yeah,
they come up against Andy Reid and they get scared.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Sheesh. Always taking shots.
And I will get my comeuppance one day, but it's not this day.
It's not right now. That's for damn sure.
It's
Yeah.
not this day. My comeuppance will come. It will come.
And I will
But
be
it's
as
not this
obnoxious
day.
as possible towards you. You just you know.
It's fine. It's okay. I can dish as best as I can take.
Yeah. I'd say that's fair.
Well, gentlemen, I think it's time we take a quick break. And the next portion of our show, we're going to do a little bit that Carlos came up with, the NFL Playoff Selection Committee, when we return on episode 218 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com.
Winning sports teams thrive on alignment. Every player knows their role, trusts their teammates, and works toward one shared goal, winning. But let me ask you, what about your senior leadership team? Are they driving your business toward success? At Transformative Alignment Group, we help CEOs uncover and address the hidden drain on productivity caused by disengaged employees that cost companies millions annually. Transform your team. Transform your results. Visit tagalignment.com today. Don't settle for good when you can be amazing. That's tagalignment.com.
Hey there, Kirby on Sports Podcast fans. Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here for you. Remember, if you have any real estate needs, buying or selling, I'm your guy. I would love to help you out. And you can also find me on my own personal podcast, Iconic Talk, where you get a chance to learn about the local real estate market and why Winchester is an amazing place to live. Reach out to me anytime, 540-247-1527, and find Iconic Talk anywhere you get your podcasts.
Welcoming you back to episode 218 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. I am Josh Kirby, joined by the weapon Dan Dembski and the Swiss Army knife Carlos Martinez. It is now time for a very interesting segment, as we don't have any more games to talk about. The Ravens on a bye week. The Commanders are on a bye week. So that means we dive into the playoff picture and we give you our NFL Playoff Selection Committee, if you will. So.
Indeed. All right, boys. So basically what we're going to do here is I'm going to give you some teams, and you're going to tell me yay or nay, whether they're in or they're out. Okay. So we do have certain teams that are already in. We all know that Kansas City is in. Mm-hmm. We all know that Detroit and Philadelphia are most definitely in. Mm-hmm. Whether now Philly is for sure a lock to win the division, I think, at this point. And Detroit, they're not a lock to win the division just yet. Mm-hmm. They got Minnesota breathing down their necks. So we're gonna go with a few teams here. So we'll start with the NFC side. So we already have two teams locked in here. We got Detroit and Philly. Which one do you think is going to get the number one overall seed? Is it going to be Philly or Detroit? We'll start with you, Kirby.
I say Detroit.
And why?
So Detroit, you look at their defense, you look at their offense, they're running on all cylinders, as you can look. The Eagles are having problems with the passing game, as you've probably seen. I mean, beating the Panthers, but a very close margin at that, with Jalen Hurts in the running game with Saquon Barkley, obviously. Their wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, are not getting enough targets. And I feel like that offensive production that hasn't really been there for Philly is going to hurt them in a sense when it comes to trying to get the number one overall seed.
Dan?
It's a good argument, good debate, Kirby. I will go the other way then. I'm going to say Philadelphia, and I think the biggest reason for me is because they have more of the long-term experience about playing to get that higher seed at this point in the season. Whereas Detroit last year, obviously, their first season making the playoffs in 30 years or something, or I guess they'd made the playoffs, but haven't won a playoff game in 30 years. So I give Philly that edge, and I think Saquon Barkley's been just invaluable to this team with what he's been able to do. Obviously the conversation in the offseason was that running backs weren't as valuable, blah, 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 and I think Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry to some extent as well, but Barkley's made a huge difference for this team. And I get Kirby's point about their passing game. It hasn't been what it could be, but I think one advantage that Philly has is their defense, and especially their tackling in space. You saw the play a couple weeks ago against the Ravens with the hit on Derrick Henry. Blanking on the guy's name again, but to me, that's playoffs. Strong defense, it really comes to play in the playoffs, and I think Philly's got a better defense. And overall, I think just more weapons across the field, and I think that gives them an advantage to be able to make a run here and get the number 1 seed. It's going to be close because I think it's going to come down to the very last week of the regular season. But yeah, I think Philly has the slight advantage.
All right, so I guess it's up to me to break this tie. Good arguments, but
It's hard.
This is a tough one because this kind of goes into my next question. Does Detroit even win the NFC North? Because right now they are also 12-1, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
What is Minnesota right now? They are 11-2.
11-2, yes.
11-2. They're right on their heels. Yep.
Yeah, so they're like literally breathing down their necks. As far as they don't have another matchup between them two, do they?
I don't think so. Let me check.
I don't think there is another game between them. I think they
I
played their
don't believe so.
Apparently week 18.
Oh.
Could come down to the last week.
Could come down to the last week. So there's that.
Ooh.
Has
interesting. Sorry.
Pittsburgh this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have Dallas again. And then they have one? No, they've already played Washington twice, correct? No, they still have one more game.
One more game. Yep.
One more game. There's some dissension happening in Philly right now between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts. Apparently, there's some beef between them. They don't very much like each other. I don't know what's going on there. So there's that. There's hints of possible funk coming back the way it showed up last season after they started out hot at 10-1, and then they completely collapsed coming down the stretch, and we're out by the first round of the playoffs.
Good point.
Little hints of that are showing up for some reason right now. I don't want to put too much on them struggling to beat the Carolina Panthers because Carolina's been playing very well these past few weeks. They obviously took the Chiefs to the limit. It took overtime for Tampa Bay to beat them. Yeah. And Bryce Young has been playing so well. So, and
under the radar,
they should have won that game had Leggett just caught that ball. They should have won. Detroit, for me, their issues are their it's the injuries mostly for me. But I think given all that, I think that they got a taste of what it was like last year by getting to that NFC Championship game and being so ever close to making the Super Bowl. And I don't know. I just feel like they're the team of destiny on the NFC side. So I'm going to side with Kirby. I'm going to say Detroit wins the North and they get the number 1 overall seed. So with that means we put Detroit as the 1 seed. And I guess, I mean, at this point, I think it's pretty much certain that Philly is going to get that 2 seed. no
Right.
matter what. So I think we can throw them
Right.
into the 2 seed. And I think we all agree they'll probably win the East.
Right. Agreed.
So now comes the two divisions that very much are super interesting. Who is going to win the NFC West and the NFC South? On the West right now is Seattle. They
Yeah.
are in the driver's seat. Behind them is the Rams, then the 49ers, then the Cardinals. I think at this point, we're all probably off the Cardinals train.
Yeah.
We all wanted them to succeed. They've bitten us in the ass during the pick'ems
Too
like
many
multiple
times.
times.
Yeah.
I can't trust them anymore. Kyler Murray in a big game still hasn't shown me that he can, be that guy, right?
Yeah.
He shows it in moments, right? Like it's kind of like the Cliff Kingsbury thing. Like in the beginning of the season, he's red hot. He looks great. And then as the season wanes on, he just falls off. So I'm out on the Cardinals.
Yep. Agreed.
Where do we stand on the 49ers? Do we think they still have a shot?
Nope.
I'm out on the 49ers
I'm
as
out
well.
on them too.
Too many injuries. Yeah, there's just
It is their season from hell, in my opinion.
it has been a season from hell for them, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so we all think that they are they're out. They're not in the
Right.
running. There's no shot they win the division. Because that's honestly the only way they're gonna get in is if they win
That's
the
the
division.
only way. Yeah, they're out. This is the time of season you have to start getting healthy. It just keeps getting worse for them. So, yeah, I think they're done.
Okay, so now it comes down to these two teams.
Now it's tough.
Now this is where it gets tough, especially after
Yeah.
what we just saw this Sunday.
Yep.
Are we going Rams or are we going Seahawks? Because I believe only one of them is going to make it in,
Yep, agreed.
in my opinion. So who wins this division and takes the next and gets the next home game? Kirby, I'll start with you. Are you going Seahawks or are you going Rams?
The Rams showed a lot of great football when it came to the game against Buffalo. They defeated the Buffalo Bills, obviously. They got some key pieces back from what I saw. And Puka Nacua had a pretty good game as well. But the Seahawks, they're just playing all around good football. This is very tough. And gentlemen, when I make this pick is going to come with the fact that this could go either way in my mind, but I am slightly favored for the Seattle Seahawks.
Really?
And
wow, I thought he was
Really?
going. He actually threw a little curveball there. I thought
No,
he was just going to like
Ooh.
go with the Rams.
I
Okay, go
think
on.
the Seahawks
Okay.
are well coached by Mike McDonald. I mean, they're not perfect, but
I mean, he's still trying to figure it out, but yeah.
yeah, they're not perfect, but they're doing a great job. And Geno Smith, sort of like a career resurgence. And
it's been a career resurgence the past like 3 years.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years now. It's
He's-
crazy.
I just like what the Seahawks have, and I think they get this division. I feel like it will come down to the wire, but I think it will be in the favor of the Seahawks by the end of it. Not saying the Rams can't make an impressive run and take that division. I just think as of right now, the Seahawks, that's just in my opinion right there, the Seattle Seahawks have what it takes to get it done.
Dan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the other way. I was surprised. I thought he would say the Rams. Yeah, I'm gonna say the Rams. I think obviously Matt Stafford. We know what he did his first season with the Rams. Obviously taking them on that magical run to the Super Bowl, and obviously doing what he did. And I just think this is the time of the year when Sean McVay in the past has had the Rams playing at their best, and I think we saw what they look like at their best last Sunday, and I think it's going to continue. Just the weapons the Rams offense have, I don't think we've seen them to the full extent this season that we, until last week. I think we finally saw the potential was there, and they exploded. I mean, Puka Nacua had a great game, so did Cooper Kupp. I mean, when those two guys are going, there's not a lot of defenses in the NFC that can stop this team when they get rolling like that. So, and then of course you double that with the fact that they have a pretty good running game with Kyron Williams. And I think this offense is really solid. And I think their defense isn't great, but I think is good enough to help them make a run here. And I'm not going to say win out because I think that's a little much, but I do think this team, I give them the edge because they've been there and done that, and I just think Seattle is a little too inexperienced at this point, and they have a new coach who hasn't been there, who doesn't have the who doesn't have the experience of being in the situation as a head coach. So for those reasons, I'm going to take the Rams.
Well, I guess it's up to me to break this tie again. Good arguments on both sides. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think I loved what I saw on Sunday. I think the issue with Seattle is you just don't know which version of Geno Smith you're going to get. I mean, it's true. He has kind of had a career resurgence, but at the same time, he is a very hit or miss quarterback. And I think that's going to eventually catch up to them. They've also lost a game to the Rams already, if memory serves me correctly. They have one more matchup, I believe, coming up, and it's gonna. I think it's in LA, if I remember correctly. But they have one more game coming up, and I mean the Rams have a pretty favorable schedule for the most part. So for me, I just think Matthew Stafford, I mean, just the way he played on Sunday was phenomenal. There was just amazing. One throw that he made that was just, it was a beautiful sidearm pass, and just the way the ball went and landed perfectly in his receiver's like area, like for him to catch it, it was just perfect. I was like, dude, Matthew Stafford is starting to feel it. He's starting to come on right now.
This is when you have to. Yep.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Dan, on the defensive point. Their defense is not great. I mean, they should have closed that game out
way sooner.
way earlier. I mean, they had such a huge lead, and the fact that Josh Allen was able to come back and torch that defense the way he did,
it was not a good look.
It was not great. So that could be their downfall. But I guarantee the NFL would much rather have Seattle in that position than Detroit, because I believe that, than LA, because I really do think LA can make some noise if they get into the playoffs.
I think so too.
And I think that they will get in the playoffs, and I think that they're going to make a lot of teams upset if they do get into the playoffs. So with that, we're going to put LA as the NFC West champions by majority rule. Now we get let's speed things up just a little bit here. I think we can all agree that that two of the wild card seats are going to go to the north. It's going to be Green Bay, Minnesota. Okay. So now we come to the next two questions. Who wins the NFC South? And does Washington get that final wild card spot? We'll start with who wins the NFC South. Will it be Atlanta or Tampa Bay? Kirby.
Tampa Bay. And
that needs to really be said about it.
That's it. That's it.
I mean, did you see what Kirk did last week by chance?
Kirk hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in how many games? 4 games?
It's been 4 games.
Why is the league on the narrative that he should be getting paid so much money for average quarterback pay?
His agent deserves all the biggest pay raise in the freaking world.
Agent deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
It's insane.
Yeah. There's not a lot to be said about this, boys, and just because of the stat of Kirk Cousins. And I'm not knocking Atlanta. They have a good offense, but it's just Kirk Cousins. He's not producing. He's not getting the job done. And as of right now, if I'm correct, the Falcons are on the bubble in the 9 seed, so they would be out of the playoffs. So,
correct.
Yes.
It's going to be the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I think he nailed it. I think Kirk Cousins has been their worst, has made them, the Falcons' own worst enemy. Not only throwing interceptions, but throwing a lot of pick sixes as well. And I know the Bucs have been inconsistent. I mean, we've talked about this throughout the season. But I just think when it comes down to it, again, I hate to use the experience thing again, but like Baker Mayfield has experience. He's been to the postseason. He knows how to win in these situations. Jeez, tongue twister today. And I think the Bucks get it done. I also just think the Falcons are just making too many, shooting themselves in the foot mistakes right now to look like a playoff team. I think they're far from that right now, in my opinion. And I give the Bucks the slight edge just because of that alone.
Well, it's a unanimous decision. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the sole reason of Baker Mayfield is playing out of his mind right now.
He's played well.
I think the getting Mike Evans back has been huge, and if they can find this rookie, I can't remember his name right now, it escapes me, but if he really becomes like a solid number 2, I think the Buccaneers are also going to be a force to be reckoned with here in the playoffs. So I think we all agree Tampa Bay will probably make the playoffs. Now comes the big question for you, Josh Kirby, our biggest Commander fan on this podcast, aka the biggest Cowboys fan on this podcast as well. A heartbreaking loss for you on Monday, huh? What are
you talking about? We were on a bye week.
I was talking about the Cowboys because you're the biggest Cowboys fan on this podcast.
Oh.
Jesus.
Very funny.
Anyways,
I mean, now that you brought it,
no. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about. No. Come on, Kirby. The segment has gone too long. The segment is going too long. We got to roll here. We don't have time to make cowboy jokes right now.
I'm just saying, Leon Lett.
I don't care. Let's go.
Leon Lett.
Do the Commanders make the playoffs? Yes or no? Do they make it in, or does another team come in and steal the spot?
Well, okay. So I'm going to go with this. The path is relatively easy, and I will tell you why. Derek Carr is out week-to-week basis. So with a backup quarterback for the struggling Saints, the Commanders should be able to get it done. Then a home game against the Eagles the next week, that might be tough. But on the schedule, I could see the Commanders going 2 out of 3. But again, you're going to Dallas.
No, that's what you need.
Yeah,
you need 2 wins. If the Commanders can win 2 games, they're in the playoffs.
Yep.
It's just the uncertainty, but I'm going to say yes because I think after this bye week, they're going to get healthy, figure out what needs to be done in this last stretch. So I'm going to say yes. I think that the Commanders can do it. I don't think they beat the Eagles, but relatively 2 more wins should get the Commanders in. But again, we've seen this Commanders team. In Carlos, you said it too, the Commanders should easily beat the Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium, and that didn't happen. So, but I think that the Commanders make it in. Is there a chance they could screw the pooch? Yeah, but I think they don't do that, and I think they just take care of business. They need at least 2, though.
Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. And I think it's mainly because, to me, I don't see a lot of teams below them that I think can make the jump. Because right now, like, who's behind them? Like, you would have...
It's the Rams, the Falcons, the Cardinals, and the 49ers.
Yeah, see, I don't see any of those teams.
They have a game against the Falcons.
Right, which I think is a winnable game. So, yeah, I'm gonna put the Commanders in, I think simply for those reasons. So,
well, I guess it doesn't really matter if I said yes or no, because either way I'd be overruled. But if I said no, but I'm going to say yes. I think the Commanders do make it. I think they banked enough wins at the beginning of the year to kind of help them get across the finish line. Like I said, you guys only need to win 2 of your next 4 games.
Yep.
I think there's 3 winnable games, 2 very winnable games. You got the one against the Saints and the one against the Cowboys. I think those are 2 very winnable games. I think the Falcons game is a winnable game, but you never know. Kirk might actually show up for that game. And then the Eagles one is obviously going to be the big challenge, but it'll be a good barometer to see where you guys are at this stage, because we saw where you guys were when you played them in Philly. Now let's see where you guys are playing them in Landover. So I'm going to go yes. I think the Commanders make it in, and I think that concludes the NFC side. On the AFC side, we'll go quickly on this. Real quick, just yes or no. Do the Chiefs lock in the number 1, Kirby?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we all have them at number 1. Buffalo already won their division, so they're already the East champs. Who wins the North? Is it going to be Pittsburgh or is it going to be Baltimore? Kirby, who wins the North? We already know what Dan's answer is going to be. Actually, we don't know what Dan's answer because Dan surprised us.
No.
Who are you going with, Kirby?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Why
this is
do
hard.
you think Pittsburgh will?
This is hard for me.
Pittsburgh is on a tear, and I just think their offense is clicking. Mike Tomlin knows how to coach this team. I think they cruise into the finish line and win the division in the AFC North.
Dan?
Oh, boy. Yeah, I think Kirby makes a lot of great points. I think right now the Steelers are the better team. They're the team with less turmoil, in my opinion, and also
They have a reliable kicker.
they have a reliable kicker, which is very important, and their defense is just really, really damn good, and that's important in the playoffs. So going into the playoffs too, I know they play each other again, so we'll see.
Pittsburgh still plays Kansas City.
True,
and they're playing Philly. So there's 3 tough games on Pittsburgh's schedule.
That's a good point.
And there's
good point.
Only for you guys, you have the Giants.
We have Houston, and that's our hardest game left.
We can't knock them.
Can't rule out the Giants. Can't rule out the Giants.
They've upset the Ravens before.
Yeah, it happened
but
a couple years ago.
after a bye week, I imagine you guys will come back and handle business, and get ready for this final stretch of the season. But there's more tougher games on Pittsburgh schedule than there's Baltimore schedule. So with that being said, where are you going?
I got to go Pittsburgh. And the reason is Ravens can't beat the Steelers. They just can't. They haven't proven they can beat them with Lamar Jackson.
In Baltimore, you guys have been able to handle them.
Not with Lamar Jackson as quarterback. We for some reason we can't beat him.
Last year you guys didn't even play. Well, you played them. It was in a rainstorm, but Lamar didn't even play.
Yeah, he's either not played or when he has played, they've lost. So yeah, it's not good. So I as much as I hate to pick the Steelers, I just think right now they're playing a lot better football, and there's Russell Wilson. Talk about a career resurgence. You used that term earlier. I think he's had a career resurgence with the Steelers. Doggy diarrhea. Stinky poop. Yeah. So it breaks my heart to say that, and I know I'm going to get some flack for that, but listen, Pittsburgh's playing better football right now. So, yep.
Well,
wild card teams can be tough. So,
well, again, I guess it doesn't matter where I fall on it. Me personally, I think Baltimore's actually going to pull it out. I think they're going to win the division at the end, and I think that they pull it out. But majority rules here, so Pittsburgh is our North champion.
Hurts me to say that.
Do the Texans drop the South and give it to Indianapolis, or is it a foregone conclusion that the Texans will win the South, Kirby?
I say the Texans win. I'm just not bought on Indianapolis 100%.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I just think Houston's the better team.
Dan?
Yeah, I agree. Nothing more to say. I think Indianapolis has taken too long to find their identity this year too, and I think that's hurt them. So, yep.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really believe in Indianapolis. I think the problem is the Texans have a very hard schedule coming up.
True.
And it could very well throw Indianapolis back into this race. But I think all in all, the Texans should handle business and get the South. All right, wild card team. So right now, we all agree that if Baltimore doesn't win the division, they're going to be a wild card team, and they'll probably be the 5 seed.
Agreed.
So the question then is, I mean, the AFC is pretty much a lock for the most part.
It's kind of a lock, yeah.
I mean, but I guess, we're going to get probably the Chargers are probably going to make it in.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Broncos make it in? Kirby, yes or no?
Looking at the statistics and probability, I say yes. because, I mean, the Colts have a 27% chance and the Dolphins have a 13% chance. Anything can happen, but I just think the Broncos are doing so well. I think they take that 7th seed.
Dan?
Yeah, plus they have a 2-game lead, so I'm gonna I'll say the Broncos will get that 7th seed.
Yeah, I just don't see. When you look at the NFC side and you look at the teams that are in the hunt, it's more realistic that there's going to be a battle, like for some of that spot, like for that 7 seed.
This seems like chalk.
With the AFC side, it's just not there. I mean, they got the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals. Like the Bengals are not making the playoffs.
They're
The Dolphins could, but they have to win out. And the Colts, I mean, the only way the Colts, I think, will really make the playoffs is if they take the division. And then in that case, then you make the case of, okay, who do the Texans still have a better record than the Broncos? Or I don't even know if they do have a better record than the Broncos right now. But all right, so I think it's pretty much chalk. I think we all agree that, like, it'll probably be the Chargers and the Broncos and the Ravens that are in the wild card. We already know it's the Chiefs.
Yeah. The
Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers will probably win the North, and the Texans will win the South. And then on the NFC side, we went with Detroit, Philly, Los Angeles, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Washington.
It's good playoff. Good playoff matchups on both sides. So.
As much as I want the playoffs to get here, I also don't want it, because then that means the season's coming to a close.
There's some madness around the corner, I'm sure.
There's some really good games, and then there's crazy scheduling going on. I mean, we're going Saturday to Wednesdays.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so odd, but I guess we'll find out. So, with that concludes the NFL playoff committee.
Good.
The NFL playoff committee. Right here on the Kirby on Sports podcast, we will take an extended break. And when we return, the Kirby on Sports PickEm. Stick right here with us. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram, or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com.
You may have heard the saying, it's not if your home will get termites, it's when. At Barrett Pest and Termite Services, we're doing our best to refute that saying one home at a time. Our thorough inspections and treatments are designed to keep your home or business termite-free. Termites cause $5 billion in damages every year. A preemptive inspection is one of the best ways to keep that from happening to you. Because once you see evidence of termites with the naked eye, you can be sure they've already been at work for some time. Put a stop to termites and the damage they do by calling Barrett Pest and Termite Services 540-340-3922.
It's Jason, General Manager at Shenandoah Music, here to tell you all about...
Jay, what are you doing here?
Well, Matt, I'm trying to tell the people about our selection of guitars, basses, keyboards, drum sets.
I know that, but I always do the radio spots.
You get to have all the fun. I want to tell everyone about our huge selection, unbeatable prices, unmatched service, and in-depth knowledge.
Jay, I really don't think now is the time to discuss.
So remember, folks, when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester.
That's my line.
The Cider House is now open on East Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester. The Cider House is open starting at noon Wednesday to Sunday. Stop in for a wide variety of ciders on draft, as well as 4 Virginia beers, wine, and ready-to-drink canned cocktails. Don't miss our lunch specials featuring our house salad. We also have dinner specials too. Stop in today at the Cider House, located on Piccadilly Street in downtown Winchester.
We're back. It is now time for the Kirby on Sports PickEm.
Let's do it.
Let's get this started.
Oh.
All right. Well, there we go. Okay. All right, boys. Welcome to the Week 15 Kirby on Sports PickEm. It's brought to you by Anthony's Pizza, home of the Warrior. As you can see, nothing necessarily changed too much in terms of standings. I remain in first place at 59-25. Dan actually did get a game closer and then dropped it by picking the Chargers over the Chiefs. Yeah. So my 2-game lead remains. Dan remains in second. Well, my 2-game lead, I still lead at 59-25. Dan is still in second place, our favorite number 2 at 57-27. But Kirby has inched ever so closer to Dan. I think Dan needs to focus on his rear side more than who's running in front of him right now, because the guy running behind him is in risk of escaping the Kirby zone and putting Dan in the Kirby zone. Kirby, of course, is in last place at 56-28. A little history for you boys real quick. Last season in Week 15, me and Dan were tied at 54-30. Thus putting me at a 5-game improvement this season and Dan at a 3-game improvement this season. Kirby was at 49-35.
He was
thus
done.
Giving him a 7-game improvement this season. The comeback player of the year, Josh Kirby, still in the Kirby zone, but just absolutely killing it. We aren't at the week where he collapsed yet. Last season, it's next week where he collapsed completely and was just out of it from then on forward. So hopefully we can avoid that, and it's a more competitive between the 3 of us instead of just 2 of us down the line. With that being said, we jump now into the present, and the games we'll be picking are some bangers this week. They were very hard to pick,
matchups,
in my opinion. The marquee matchup of the week, the Buffalo Bills travel to Detroit into the Lions' den to face the Lions in a potential Super Bowl matchup. Who knows? We got the battle for Pennsylvania. The Steagles are back in action, baby. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going to reference the fact that they had to combine those teams multiple times during the broadcast. They do it every time they play each other. But yes, the Steelers against the Eagles, Tampa Bay against the Los Angeles Chargers. We got the Packers against the Seahawks, the 49ers against the Rams, and the Dolphins against the Texans. I will go first, as always, because I am your two-time Pick'em's champion, working on my 3rd. I will take the Detroit Lions over the Buffalo Bills. I just think Detroit playing at home, they're going to be super amped up for this game. It's going to be a very competitive matchup. It's not going to be a blowout by any means. We already saw Josh Allen has no quit, and pretty much even in a loss solidified his MVP, I believe, in that game. Unless Saquon breaks the record, then we're going to definitely have some conversations to be had. But I will take the Detroit Lions over the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just think I don't know, man. There's a lot not going for the Eagles right now. But when I made this pick, it was before all that stuff kind of came out. And I wasn't going to change my pick because of it. I think the game being in Philly,
it helps them a lot. Yep.
I think it helps them a lot. And that defense is playing pretty solid. And it'll just be, can Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown get on the same page and squash this beef that they're apparently having? I'm going to take Tampa Bay over the Chargers. I just think it all depends really on who plays for the Chargers. Does Ladd McConkey come back? But I just think Tampa Bay is playing at another level right now. But it's going to be a competitive matchup. It's not going to be an easy win for Tampa Bay at all. I'm going to take Green Bay over Seattle. It is in Seattle, so that'll be interesting. But I think Green Bay is playing very well right now. And like I said, it just depends on which version of Geno shows up. He's, is it going to be the good Geno, or is it going to be the Geno who's going to throw 3 interceptions and is just not going to play great?
Yeah,
we'll see what happens there. I'm going to take the Rams over the 49ers. The Rams are getting red hot right now. And the 49ers, while they are still playing pretty decently well, they played very well against Chicago. I just think their injuries are too much for them to overcome against an actual good team like Los Angeles. I mean, they beat a scrub tomato can team in Chicago. So I'm going to go Los Angeles. And then I'm going to take Houston over Miami. This is do or die for Miami. Miami needs to win out to have any chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I think Houston is kind of getting tired of this narrative that they aren't a real contender, and they're going to take all that frustration out on Miami. And Miami really struggled to beat the Jets. So
yeah, they did.
They did it, but I mean, it's the Jets. Like, everybody's been beaten down on them. But with that being said, I now throw it to this podcast's favorite number 2, Dan Demski.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Yes, so I will open it up by picking the Detroit Lions over the Buffalo Bills. I will agree with Carlos here. I think because the game is in Detroit, and then also I feel like the Lions late in games have been they've been able to put away games. Obviously, I think the Bills have had to come from behind more in games this year. I don't know if that's something we could look up easily or not, but anyway. I think Detroit, I mean, they're the hottest team right now in the NFL, I think. And they find ways to win games. Not quite to the extent as, our segment earlier talking about the Chiefs, but I love what Dan Campbell's done with this team, and I think we'll have him fired up and ready to take down a really, really good Buffalo team with, as Carlos mentioned, probably someone who right now is the MVP. Unless the team below, unless their running back gets going. So with that, I will, if you have long enough, I will take the Lions over the Bills once again. I'm going to take the Eagles over the Steelers in the battle for this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I think it's a Commonwealth. This was a tough one for me, but I think one big factor in this game is that, again, Pickens is probably not going to play for Pittsburgh. You really saw how that affected their passing game last week for a good portion of the game until they finally were able to, put up some big numbers against the Browns. But they struggled there for a while to finally turn it on against the Browns, and I think the defense was a big reason for why they got going. They're going to have a tough time. This defense is against Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts in this really solid Eagles offense. Obviously, Carlos mentioned some of the off-the-field issues that the Eagles have had. It's not the first time we've talked about that in the last 30 years. They've had their fair share of off-the-field issues before with 2 players. But I think this is a get-right game for the Eagles, obviously. And, I'm really impressed with their defense. I don't think they're getting talked about enough and getting respected enough. It's going to be a really good matchup, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a low-scoring affair. But I'm going to go with the home team, go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. This is my sort of upset pick of the week. I'm going to go with the Chargers over the Bucks. Yeah, I know. I know. After you put the graphic up, I was like, damn, I forgot I picked them again. So here we are again, Chargers. You've let me down already several times before.
You're putting your faith in a Harbaugh again.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I don't have any good reasons really to pick the Chargers in this game, although I think if they can get the running game going, that'll make things a lot easier for Herbert, and he won't have to throw it 50 times a game in this game rather. But yeah, I think this is a good matchup, and I think if the Chargers can get the run game going with that tandem in the backfield that they have, I think they have a pretty good shot to force Baker Mayfield to throw a late game interception, which is something I think defenses have made him do obviously in the past. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers over the Bucks. Not confident in that pick, but listen, when you're behind, you got to make some bold picks sometimes. I'm gonna go with the Packers over the Seahawks. I just think the Packers are a better team right now. They're playing more consistent football. Carlos already alluded to the fact that Geno Smith is a Jekyll and Hyde type of player. You just don't know what you're going to get. And I think the Packers, I mean, I think they're playoff ready right now, and I think they're going to show that in this game, and I think they're going to take down Seattle. So I will take the Packers. I'm going to take the Rams over the 49ers. I mean, this isn't to me, a pretty easy pick with all the injuries the Niners have and the depth concerns I have for them. And like Carlos mentioned, they're playing lights out right now. And Matt Stafford and that offense are clicking on all cylinders. So I think that will continue against the San Francisco team that's beaten up. So I'll take the Rams over the 49ers. And then finally, I will take the Houston Texans over the Miami Dolphins. This is another game. Carlos nailed it again. This Houston Texans team wants to prove they belong in the conversation with these other playoff teams in the AFC, and I think this is a game they come out and prove it. And Miami's sputtering, and as Carlos said, they really have to win out to have any opportunity to make the playoffs, and I just don't see them making a run. Those are my picks. So with that, I will throw it to your host and CEO. Not going to say the Kirby Zone because I'm pretty close to the Kirby Zone now, but here he is, Mr. Josh Kirby.
Thank you, Dan. I will make these picks short and sweet. I'm picking the Lions over the Bills. I think all cylinders are rolling for the Detroit Lions, and I just believe they have the better chance of winning. I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I think they're on the right track, and I think they can get stuff going. I don't really like what I saw of Philly's offense last week.
I smell a collapse coming.
Okay, hey, I'll stand by it, Carlos, okay? If I collapse, I collapse. There it is. Yeah, so I'm picking the Steelers. And that is
so salty. I'm sorry you lost 3 years in a row, bro. Golly.
Hey,
I was the guy who got the brunt this episode. I stood there and took it.
Take it. I'll take it.
I don't know. You got a little emotional there for a second.
Hey, I'm used to it. I'll take it. I'll take the Bucs over the Chargers. The Packers are playing well right now. I'm picking them over the Seahawks. The 49ers are not looking so good. I am picking the Rams, a 2-game winning streak, and I will take the Texans over the Dolphins. Is there any history or scenarios you have, Carlos?
Well, we already went through the history, so let's go with the scenarios here. Possible scenarios here.
Oh man,
Dan, Dan's only different pick is the Chargers. So at best, he can get one game closer. At worst, he gets another game further away from me. In Kirby's case, with there being two different picks between the two of you, if Kirby gets both of those correct,
yeah, he could.
He overtakes Dan and goes into second place by one game.
Yep.
Splits, it goes to a tie. And then, of course, Dan collapse could also happen, and Dan takes a 3-game lead back from back on Kirby. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. All I know is I'm safe. I'm safe in first place right now. So that's all that matters for me. It's right now, Dan, you gotta focus on Kirby right now. You can't be focusing on me.
That's why I have two different picks than him.
Yeah, because you gotta you better hope and pray that those picks land, because Kirby gets out of the Kirby zone. I don't know, man. Then I got to start watching my back, because then I'm going to start to fear that he's about to make a run for this thing.
Well, it's taken 3 years to get to this point. So congratulations.
Well, listen, and also, like I said, his collapse last year didn't come until week 16.
Right.
So
it's possible.
It's still possible, because
the bank is open.
Like the signs of the collapse started this week last year. He got 2 games wrong, and then the next week he just collapsed and was just out. So
it's true.
I mean,
a little bit of history.
History tends to repeat itself, but we'll see.
So with that, we'll post this on Facebook. You pick with us. If you get the most amount correct commenting on our Facebook post, Kirby on Sports Podcast, you win a free large cheese pizza from Anthony's Pizza, home of the Warrior in Stevens City, Virginia. And with that, that wraps up another edition of the Kirby on Sports Podcast. Boys, a pleasure as always.
Always a good time.
Always a great time. A huge thanks to our sponsors, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Transformative Alignment Group, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Shenandoah Music, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, the Cider House, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports Podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. Make sure you find us on all streaming platforms and all social media platforms. www.kirbyonsports.com. All right, Carlos, take it away.
I'm not closing this podcast.
Oh, you're not?
No.
Can you smell what Josh Kirby is cooking?
Absolutely not.